Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Watch It in Action. I'm BouseFeenux, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Ember Prime build on the BouseFeenux website. So, Ember Prime, for those of you that are new to Warframe or haven't really played her yet, she is basically a fire Warframe. All of her abilities are fire-based, that's kind of what she does, and a lot of people, when they get into the game, they see Ember and they're like, man, that seems like a really high damage-dealing frame, somebody that can, dish out a lot of DPS and really hurt some dudes. But at a higher level, that damage is going to fall off because none of Ember's abilities really scale that well. And what I've done here is I've created a little crowd control build that works really well at just about any level. And taking a look at the mods here, you're going to notice some irregular or some different things here. Like the fact that I'm using a 5 out of 10 blind rage. Some people would argue that a higher ranked one is better, and you can do that. I just like having a little bit more efficiency for when I cast her other powers. So mostly this build is going to be working on the Firequake augment and the World on Fire skill. So we're going to need this. This is pretty much a cornerstone of the build here. And then Prime Continuity and Prime Flow you can just replace with the regular Flow and the regular Continuity. Although Prime Continuity and Prime Flow are obviously going to be a little bit better, allow us to stay in World on Fire longer and have a little bit better efficiency and, energy pool. So taking a look at our abilities here, we're going to be mainly using Accelerant and World on Fire. Accelerant is basically our stun skill. That's going to allow us to get a quick stun in on enemies when World on Fire is not knocking them down, and it's going to allow us to do a little bit more fire damage too, which is pretty cool at lower levels, and I'll show you how that works here in a second. Fireball can be used, you can use it, it's just not very powerful, and it takes energy to use it, so, I mean, it's not really the best choice. Fire Blast is actually pretty nice for defense missions, especially with Infested, because it not only creates like a huge wave of fire that's going to cover a large radius, it also leaves a ring of fire on the ground that'll stay for a pretty long time because of the duration of this build. So let me go ahead and show you how this build works real quick. We're going to test this out against some higher level enemies that you might find in maybe a high level Void mission. We're going to use some Corrupted Heavy Gunners, and we're going to set them to level 90 just so you can kind of see how this works. So the damage is not going to be impressive, and that's not what I want you to be concerned about. The main focus of this build is being able to knock enemies down so you can get around and survive. And then your damage is going to come from your weapons. So I'm using the Prismatic Arcata right now. It even kind of falls off against these heavier guys, but there are other weapons that are pretty good. And then casting our Accelerant, that's going to stun enemies. You notice they're sitting there, they're kind of shaking their head, whatever. And then we're going to be able to do more fire damage to them. Now, if we want, we can throw down a Fire Blast, and that's going to give us a little bit more damage. But against these guys, it's going to be pretty hard to hurt them. I mean, they're level 90 Corrupted Gunners. They've got ridiculous armor and health. So most of our damage is going to come from our melee weapons, or our primary, secondary, whatever. This is the Atomos right now. Using weapons that have fire damage in them, or if you have fire mods on them, you're going to see a lot of benefit from that because Accelerant greatly increases the amount of fire damage you can do. But if you notice, they're having a really hard time staying on their feet. We're moving around, we're getting around them pretty easily. This is great for any kind of extraction or excavation or anything like that type mission where you don't have to kill enemies necessarily, and you're doing it at a really high level. This is going to help you keep those enemies crowd control so you can complete your objective. But essentially, that's pretty much this build. I mean, there's really not much more to it. I find it a lot of fun to play. It's especially more fun to play at lower levels because you're actually killing a lot of stuff with World on Fire and Fire Blast and all that stuff like that. But I really enjoy Ember. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and I will see you at the next one. Thanks a ton.